Hi, Sailor Star Fighter Dustin here, and today we're going to talk about who does own Sailor Moon. Now, that's hard to say. I'm going to make a guess and say that it's half owned between the TOEI business and the Adling NAOKO business, which doesn't have a website. You would think that the Adling NAOKO business would have a website, but it doesn't have a website. And any Sailor Moon things coming out, dolls or anything, you always look on the back, it all says double right, TOEI business, Adling NAOKO business, and for dolls. As far as for the plays and the song shows that are going on, I would think they're show run and overseen by folks from the TOEI business, and I guess the Adling NAOKO business. Now, some folks say that TAKEUCHI has crafting oversight, which is true, I guess. But crafting oversight doesn't really give you the full slay or might over it. And I like to think a lot of the things that are being, and she doesn't have the full might and slay over Sailor Moon as a lot of folks think. Now, it's true she might have a lot of might and slay over the books that she wrote and drew over the years, and still write and draw, I guess. If she's withdrawn from doing that, I don't know. But as far as Sailor Moon goes, the drawing show, the drawing film, the dolls, the plays, the song shows, those things, all that is owned by the TOEI business. So she hasn't got as much slay over it as one would think. Now, keep in mind, TAKEUCHI's might and slay over Sailor Moon is the same might and slay that Han Siobhan had over the Might Keepers after Siobhan Wealth Team sold Siobhan Glee and the Might Keepers over to Hasbro and Business in 28 Between YL, which now makes 7 years of that. Now, her might and slay over Sailor Moon mostly came from the books that she wrote and drew, but I mostly think that was it. And even though she may have been a showrunner for a lot of the Sailor Moon drawing shows, PGSM, the Farseer show that ran from 2003 YL to 2004 YL, and Sailor Moon Hearst 1, 2, and 3, and Sailor Moon Forever, and Sailor Moon Stars, which ran from 24 Between FYL until the ending in 2023 YL. I don't really think she has as much slay over it as folks would like to believe. Now, there'll be some folks on the interwebs that will say, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I should do my learning first. Well, they might not know what they're talking about either, to tell you the truth. Now, why does someone care about who owns, who has the main ownership over something? Because that's the one you got to deal with when it comes to ownership and double right. But luckily, I never had to deal with ownership and double right with either the TOEI business or the Adling NAOKO business. The TOEI business does got a website. The Adling NAOKO business does not. You would think they would have made one, but it does not. Even Siobhan Wealth Team has a website. Now, at the end of the day, the TOEI business is most likely Sailor Moon is half owned between the TOEI business and the main owners of that, and the Adling NAOKO business, and who mainly owns that. Now, over the years, a lot of folks always over the years, when a lot of folks were getting their films their uploads, their live streams, their shorts, their podcasts is taken down due to ownership and double right to either having songs or likenesses or things that were owned and double righted by the TOEI business. It was always the TOEI business doing it, at least for their Sailor Moon. Now, a lot of folks out there are going to say, am I worried about the TOEI business or the Audley Niall Golding's business? And the answer is no, I'm not. I'm not worried about them because I never did anything that would make them come after me. I don't have anything in their films that they got ownership or double right over. You know, I don't have any deals with them, so I'm not worrying about a breach of deal or anything like that. You know, and that's the way it should be. Now, the grounds to why I bring up who has the true might and sway over Sailor Moon is that, well, mostly on ownership and double right grounds. Because I understand, and I could be wrong about this, but someone told me, I don't know if it's true or not, but Dawnland has not got no fair work slight of double right. And fair work is not something that shields you from ownership or double right, but fair work is a lawful thing that if you ever get a law work for ownership and double right, you can tell the high diva or the oath takers that you believe your work is fair work, and then they can look at it and make a call on many whatever if it meets the standards of fair work or not. Now, at the end of the day, I think that it's half owned between the TOEI business since between 92 YL, and they got a lot of arms of it to oversee. The drawing show, the drawing films, the plays, the song shows, the dolls, the film games. They got a lot of those shit to oversee. And the Audley Niall Golding's business, well, they are the other owner of it. But I don't know if they got as the same slay and might with it as the other owners do. You know, I mean, it was like when Vince McMahon sold WWE over to Undertake Teams Holdings, and then Ariel Dow and Patrick Whitesell became the main owners. And then when Undertake Team Holdings was sold to Star Lake Toll's leadership, Ken Hahn became the main owner. So that's the same kind of thought that we're going on here with. Now, before I end this film, some folks have said that Naoko Takeuchi is hard to deal with. Other folks say she's not. And I don't know because I don't know her. You know, all I know is what's out there on the interwebs, and it could all be made up. You know. But this film's talking about who I believe has the main ownership over it. And I believe, before I end this film, that the TOEI business and Audley Niall Golding's business both are half owners of it. But who has the main ownership, who has the might and sway over it, I cannot tell you. And I'll see you all later.